Happy Sunday to you. We made it to the spring forward time change. Everybody's here on time. What a day to be alive. I'm Chris, I'm the Long Box Punk, and I am joined on this episode by friend of the show, longtime chatting on social medias. I'm glad we were able to fix our schedules and figure this out. Is DeWayne joining me of Wake vs. Comics? Dude, thanks so much for hanging out with me on a Sunday evening.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. So you not only are an indie comics creator, you're not only you've got the whole Wakeverse universe. You've got a ton of really badass character designs. You've got some really fun comics that you've done, but now you're also kickstarting a children's book called Shape Master. We're going to get into all of these things. I'm looking forward to chatting it up with you. But first, what's a comic podcast without talking about origin stories? So like, how did you get into comics? How did we get here? How did you start creating? Where did this all come from for you?
Oh, man, I've always been an artist. When I was 18, living with my dad, I first got into drawing. So, Pappy's World, Pappy Land on OETA. I would always watch that show. That was the first thing that got me started into art. And then I decided to stop art for a little while, went and played college football and at HBCU at Arkansas Baptist College. Okay. So it was awesome to be, Cherokee heritage to being at an all-black college. So it was kind of different for me.
Yeah.
And then after that, I moved to Oklahoma, met my wife, and then my son, he was born. We were told we might have to abort him when he was born, but my wife fought for him. And when he was born, he got my creative juices back, and I created characters for him and just things that he, him with his autism just gave me, all sorts of awesome ideas. And so I was able to do my first story was Crescent Blue that funded on Kickstarter. Then recently I did Blood Sable, and that story, it took me years to finally get it done. So when Blood Sable finally got funded, I was so proud of it. And he's just been my big inspiration, even though sometimes he's a big old poopy head and loud, but I still love him to death. But he's inspired me a lot on most of my stories. And that's kind of how I've been. Started traditional art, trying to get my juices flowing back in there. Now I'm using Procreate and digital art, and it's helped enhance my work. So I'm just proud of where I'm at. Making my first kids book, Shape Master, which I created in 2019, and just wanted to bring it to life and see if other people liked it too. I just wanted to see, try my hand into kids books as well, because I have a lot of comics coming. So I just wanted to try that avenue and see what would happen.
Yeah.
But, the Wakeverse has many more stories to come. I'm already halfway done with my Red Cloud 4 story, and I'm going to work on my one-shot glow stick story right after I'm done with that one. So there's projects coming right after that. So I got a lot of work going on.
I was going to say, like, just keeping up with you on Instagram and seeing everything that you're constantly putting out, and like new character here, character design there. I've got a story going on over here. Like, you're always running all the time, it seems like. How do you keep all that in balance?
Well, usually during the day, like right now, I hope my wife's doing okay inside. My son, he's been a hellion today, but bless him. But usually at night when it's like 10, 11, when we finally get down late to bed, I'll just work on my stuff. So I stay up late and grind most of the time. And that's usually what it gets me to where I'm at, because I make sure when I put my focus onto something, I grind on it with all my heart and just put all my love and devotion into it. So that's what I usually do when, my wife and son are disabled. So I'm their full-time caregiver. So I find certain times of the day when it's quiet or when, nobody's being loud and it's calm to try to draw something. So that's what I usually do. I try to pick my battles when I can. And that's just how I do it. I find a day. Always try to make a goal to at least complete at least one page of something a day, or at least be able to write one page a day. So I try to do that. Just do little things here and there, because just do the little crumbs so I can have a whole loaf of bread.
That's awesome, dude. I love how you just said that. Like, I'm gonna steal that from you. Because like, it's so true, and the intentionality of like at least getting one page done a day. I love that you're putting that much intentionality into it, and I feel like that's kind of just being a creative person. Is like you're constantly having these ideas, these things come to you, these images, this whatever it is that you're creating, and so like you just have to get it down, and the only way to continue moving forward is to continue to do the work and find the time. So and I bet too, like, since you started with like traditional artwork and then moved now into Procreate, it has that like freed up a lot of things for you. Like, do you find those similar in execution?
Yeah, like sometimes I'll still do traditional art every now and then when I do do like concepts for like some of my storyboards and stuff, so I can just go in and do it in Procreate. But yeah, it doesn't feel any different than, you know, traditional and digital. I think they're pretty much the same concept to me because I'm still drawing and creating something. But it's made it a lot more easier. My stuff's more high definition. People can see the awesome artwork I put into it, all the little details. So I mean, digital, it's been helping me because it gives me more time to, you know, be on my tablet and draw instead of having to pull out all my markers and my, you know, my notebooks and start, you know, doodling and hope my son doesn't grab one of my pens and stick it in his mouth or something. So yeah. And recently my pen finally gave up, and my wife got me one off of Walmart. It was like $10 and it works for my tablet. So I was like, thank God, because my Red Cloud Force story, she doesn't like that character. It's my own original character that I made when I was a CNA, being a nursing assistant. So I was like, I wanted to take that kind of, you know, work and stuff I've done and make my own character with it. So Red Cloud Force is special to me, and I love it. It's a sci-fi action comic, just 24 pages, and I'm already halfway done inking it. So I'm having a blast doing that one.
Dude, that's awesome. I love your character designs too. Like, they're so visually just like, I don't know, man. Like, every time I see a new character that you're posting, I'm like, God, that looks awesome. Like, that it just looks so freaking cool. Like, were any of those characters influenced by like other characters, or are those just like stuff that popped in?
Oh yeah, like Crescent Blue. I grew up around Spawn. I love Dr. Fate, and I love Doctor Strange. So I love the magical properties of those characters when I created Crescent Blue. So I kind of love the cowl look of Spawn, and I love the power set of, you know, Doctor Strange and Dr. Fate. So I kind of wanted to make my own character like that just had his own cool look and style, but you can still kind of technically see he's kind of inspired by someone else. And most of the time people do come up and say he kind of gives that Spawn vibe to me. So I'm like, okay, then I nailed on the head with his, you know, kind of inspiration. And with Blood Sable, I try to just do a 90s style character. You know, when I did Blood Sable, I've done over 15, 20 different designs of him. I'll show them off one day. I'll probably do a live and show off all the different designs. He at first he wasn't red and blue. He was like a gray, and he was black. He was like all sorts of colors. But Backlash from Wildstorm was the guy I enjoyed, you know, reading in comics. So I liked his hair sticking out of his, you know, suit and stuff. So that kind of gave me inspiration for Blood Sable. And I love the Last Airbender. I love the Blood Benders, their powers and stuff. So that also gave me inspiration when I created Blood Sable. And then with Flashwave, he's just an electrical oceanographic engineer, which means he can use water to create electricity. So his suit is pretty much based on his water powers, and he's a scientist. And he's inspired by a person I used to work with in the medical field. So his name, Micah Chastain, is based on people that I know. So most of the characters I have are based on real life. Their names are based on real life people that I know or personally in my own life.
That's cool. It makes almost like, it makes writing or keeping track of like their character development stuff almost easier, right? Because then, like, do you base their personalities at all too, or is it just like the names and images and stuff?
Oh yeah, I always try, like, when I was doing Caden Johnson Crescent Blue, I didn't know how to draw people yet, so I kind of used my own face in that story to try to just, you know, show that I can at least attempt to draw human figures. And at the time I didn't have Procreate or digital, so I kind of had to look at myself in the mirror and draw myself as the person in the page. So it was kind of cool to draw a lookalike of me in Crescent Blue Conquer Darkness. But it's just teaching me along the way. It's just great. I try to keep my characters relatable. Like with Crescent Blue, since he's blue, I try to keep him as a calm, demeanored character. With Blood Sable, with his red and stuff, I try to make him the more angry, you know, kind of chaotic character. Like, he's a dad. If you step in his way, he's going to take you down. So he has a short temper. And with Flashwave, he's a scientist. So he's definitely the smartest guy in the room. And then Silent Thunder, he's pretty much, I love the Capoeira ninja style. So I like that martial arts style. So that's what his martial arts is Capoeira. So I wanted to base that on him. So he's more of my, you know, technical character. And then my Zujak character, who's my own original character that I just made, is my I love the planet Jupiter. So I wanted to make a alien type of character based on like a protector of people's nightmares. So he looks like a demon, but he actually is a guardian of people's dreams. So you know, cool. I can't wait for his story to come out. It's gonna be cool. That's gonna be my second like alien type story. And then Red Cloud Force, I just wanted a guy who was just military strong, a guy people looked up to, just very, he's a sincere individual that people respect when he walks in the room. So when I'm drawing my Red Cloud Force story, I always try to make it, there's going to be more than just him. I also drew the Red Cloud Force cadet, so you're going to see a lot of my cadets in there that I originally created as well.
That's cool.
So you're going to see the whole team in that book. In 24 pages, I'm jamming it with everything I can. You get to meet one of the big baddies of the Wakeverse, in the galaxy. So you'll get to see Cypherus, who's really cool. He's got like a lance left arm. So
nice.
So he's a pretty beefy character. And you get to meet like another alien race in that book as well. So when I create my characters, I always want to try to, they're emotional based, what they act. I try to put that in the story as well. So when you see them use their powers, you kind of understand why they're using them and how they're using them.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed with when reading Blood Sable that like it seemed like as he was getting angrier, he almost was getting more like, directed and stronger, more focused in on the villains and trying to save his son and get him back. And I was wondering, like, do you if that was a theme for you of like tying the emotions into the powers?
Yeah, like what he pretty much when he gets frustrated, like his powers become OP pretty much. Like in my second Blood Sable Unbroken, which is what I'm going to call the second book, we get to find out more about what the Blood Sable amulet is. We get to see more of the other Blood Sable warriors who were before him. So we'll get to see that. We'll get to understand, the Tissia, the kingdom where it came from.
Yeah.
And we'll get to see that people are trying to take this kid for a reason, and Eric is not having it. And anybody who gets in his way, they will pay the price.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And are you planning on tying or doing like team up stories at all?
Yes. Yep. Sure am. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Kind of laying out little crumbs for the first couple stories because Red Cloud Force, I love that. I'm putting little crumbs about Crescent Blue and Blood Sable in there. But when I did Crescent Blue, at the end of the book, I made sure to kind of give a little insight of what he has to do with his new powers. So he's got to find Blood Sable, Flash Wave, Silent Thunder, Zujak. He's got to find all these characters because there's a big battle coming against this big character that I've had for years. When I created Crescent Blue, I created this character named 3 times. Because when I get onto my son, I have to do it more than 3 times. So I was like, I might as well make a huge villain like that. And he has a very crazy power, and he has a very dark secret that could literally just wipe out the Wakeverse in general and all the characters in it. So 3 times is a very important character to the world, and I also have it in Liar. So you'll get to see 3 times in Liar show up in a tiny couple of pages, so you'll understand, like, this guy, he's for real. Like, he's not scared of demons, monsters, gods. 3 times is legit. If you're in his way, he will laugh in your face while he's breaking your neck. Yeah,
that's such a sinister thing to say.
Yeah, like 3 times is like my Joker slash, who in Marvel's like that type of person.
Thanos is pretty.
Yeah, he's pretty
sinister. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, 3 times is a very dark character, but he does it in a way like he likes to mess with your mind before he ends up taking you out. So he's like a very mind type of guy. He likes to mess with you, just like kind of like the Joker. Most villains in most stories, he likes to mess and play with his food before he ends it all. So, but he has a very big secret that Crescent Blue and all these other characters, when they find out who he is, they're going to be shocked. So cool. I tried to tie that in, and my Wakeverse, it's only in the Milky Way galaxy. We're not doing any like multiverse, but we will have alternate versions of the characters. There's a couple alternate versions of the characters in my story that get their powers the same way. So we might see alternate versions of them, but not like multiverse versions of them.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. It seems like you've had all of this stuff already planned. Like, how far ahead of where you're currently at are you with like creating this universe and these stories? Like, do you have a lot of stuff already like pre-planned?
Like I said, this year I'll have Liar out, which will be my 50-page comic, so people get to see Liar before the end of the year. And then next year we're doing Red Cloud Force, and we're going to do Glow Stick. And then after that we're going to do Flash Wave, Silent Thunder, and Ezra's. And then after that we're going to do book 2 of Crescent Blue, and then book 2 of Blood Sable. So pretty much till like 2029, I got pretty much everything covered. Yeah.
Jeez, man. I don't even know what I'm doing next weekend.
like
You're over here planning
yeah,
4 years ahead. That's
yeah, like with
wild.
Blood Table, I already have this 4-page story arc already written out. It's been written out for years, so I know exactly how I want his first 4 books to go. And then I already have a list of all the Crescent Blue stories I want him to have, all the villains that I put in there. Like in one of the stories, Crescent Blue versus a bubblegum butcher. He's one of my coolest villains I've ever created. He's a ghost that lives on top of people, so people are alive, and he takes control of their body, kind of like a parasite. But they get to see, hear, and feel everything. This nasty thing takes control of them, so they get to. It pretty much mind messes with them, gives them PTSD, horrible nightmares. But and then when he's done with you, it's just a gum. He'll go back into the world, and the people that get left behind are just mentally just broken. So I can't wait for that verse. The bubblegum butcher, he gets the verse shattered 3 times. Let's see, I got a couple other ones I can't think off the top of my head, but I got stories for Crescent Blue coming up too. Because Crescent Blue, Blood Table, are the 3 characters that I already have stories for. Like those are 3 characters I've put a lot of time into. So I just can't wait for those to come out.
That's awesome. You've got a lot of wind happening right now on your end, which I'm totally
Yeah.
jealous of because our temperatures aren't warm enough for me to sit outside my
Yeah,
house
well,
here.
well, yeah. Yesterday it was cold. It was like 70 the day before, and then yesterday it was raining. Now it's nice again. It's in the 60s. So yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So,
seriously.
like, tell me about Shape Master. Like, what made you want to create a children's book, and then like, how did you start that?
Well, Shape Master, my son loves Dr. Seuss. He's loved Dr. Seuss since he was born. And when he got diagnosed with autism and he was nonverbal, those were the first books he loved. And he has a whole shelf. This kid has probably hundreds of books of Dr. Seuss and everything that's even looks identical to Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
And so when I made Shape Master, I just did it in 2019, when things were, everybody was at home and things were going awry. I decided to just whip up just this little character, Shape Master, and see if people loved him. And I made the cover, and I love the cover. This is just the proof, but I was able to get the proof, and then
That's cool.
there's the proof. That was going to be the original cover, but then as I was getting ready to launch Shape Master, I was like, I want people to, little kids to see the character, because most kids, they won't read a book if they don't visually see what they're looking at. So I decided to redraw the character art on the front. Then my friend from Wales, Carl, he decided he was going to do some fan art of Shape Master for me. He said, put it as a cover, use it as a poster and sticker. So I have that cover as well. And, I also have the concept arts. I have the strawberry, the crescent moon, king rectangle, and buff square. And so those are on the Kickstarter. People can see. But yeah, I just had a cool time just creating this little 20-page story. It's hard to rhyme. Anybody who does a rhyming book, I commend them, because you've got to actually research how to rhyme something. There's 2-syllable, 3-syllable, 4-syllable, 5-syllable words, and it's hard to rhyme all those words. So with Shape Master, it actually took me longer than expected. So I was like, I'm going to make my first, rhyming book. It's going to be easy. Kids are going to love the characters. And then I sat there and I was duped. I was like, oh man, how can I rhyme? I've never rhymed before. I usually stick to, writing my own stories, not doing kids' books.
Yeah.
And so Shape Master is just my little plunge into it. I just wanted to create a story for my son. And I also have another kid's book, Kevin and Bob Find Their Ducks. He loves that one. Oh my gosh. I'll show it to you right here. I've had it in the package for a while, and I didn't think he would want it, but now he's read it for 3 days straight. So
that's cool.
He loves it. His Kevin and Bob is based on his ducks. He has a bunch of ducks and aliens, Kevin and Bob. He loves those ducks. He takes them to the bath with them all the time. His ducks take care of his characters.
That's
so
awesome.
My son inspired me, and I just wanted to just leave something behind for him. If anything ever happens to me, he knows that his dad loves him, and that this book is for him. If the book doesn't fund on Kickstarter, it is what it is. But I just want to be able to put my ideas out there so people can see it. I maybe inspire someone, because I believe in the book. I love the book, and the goal is $300. Because if people want to get just the paperback, I'm working with Mixum, great company, so I already have it pretty much pre-ordered, so I can just whatever people want, the covers and stuff, I already have them ready to go. So the book's completely done. I have everything done. I always make sure when I do a book book to make sure it's done beforehand. That way people don't have to wait around a long time, because I think that's a good thing to do as a creator. If you're done beforehand, people don't have to wait long, because I pride myself to try to get it out within a month or two's time when I'm done with the project. When all the bunch are coming in, I try to make sure that everything gets taken care of as soon as possible. So yeah, with Shape Master, it's already done. And this is probably my favorite page, just the buff square. Just my favorite character that I made in here. And the close second has to be King Rectangle. He's just a cool little old jolly man. Just love that character. And I had to do King Rectangle is awesome, but buff square is the coolest. But yeah, I just want to do it for my son. I totally forgot while he was in there screaming. I totally forgot to grab my concept art to show you, but they've come through much more different designs than they were at first. But oh man, I even I have a paper in there that shows just all the rhymings I had to do and re-rhyme. I had a lot of scratching out because I didn't want it to resound the same on each page. So Shape Master is just a cute little book for kids. Like if autistic family, I've been trying to reach out to people who have kids with autism if they want the book, because it's just short and simple. And I tried to make the colors as simple as possible, because autistic kids, reds, blues, and pinks are kind of like their I'm tongue-tied. Colors that they kind of resonate with. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. So it kind of gets them to look at stuff. They're like their most primary colors, pretty much, and bright. So this is just a story for him, and I just thought I wanted to share it with people. That's the goal. I just want to, anything I make, I just want to share with anyone, because I'm going to inspire someone. I've had so many people even reach out to me now and just say, wow, you're jumping into something new, and we're proud of you. So it just makes me feel good that I can share that with people.
Yeah, I think it's like, I love being able to celebrate dad wins, because as a dad, I'm just like, I'm rooting for every dad that there is. Traditional, non-traditional dad, like whatever, like any dad wins should be celebrated more. And so when I first heard like you were making a kid's book, I was like, oh, that's something different and like unique. And then it was like, oh yeah, it's for my son. I was like, oh man, that's a total dad. Like, how freaking cool is that to share, like have that and then share it with him? Like when you were picking the shapes, like the buff square and King Rectangle, like were those his favorite shapes, or were you just like, these are just different shapes that we can show?
It was kind of a mix of both, because my son, he at first loved Cocoa Melon, and he loved the squares and circles and stuff there. So I was kind of like, okay, when my son would do something new, I'd chat it down in my little notebook and be like, okay, he likes this now. Because with kids with autism, they'll pick something that they love and they'll stick with it for a while. And then after a while, they'll switch it up randomly to something new. So I'd always write down what he loved. So yeah, there's those three for sure. It was the rectangle, the square, and the crescent that I had instantly were the three shapes that he loved the most. So I made sure those three were definitely in there. And then the other ones like semicircle, circle, all those other ones that I do have in there. It was so hard to rhyme with them though, because what can you rhyme with semicircle?
Right.
So there was a couple I just added myself and just try to test the waters and see if it made sense. And I'm glad I picked the ones I did, because they were the easiest ones to write a rhyme for. Yeah. So yeah, it's been pretty cool to actually jump into kids books and see how it works. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of Shape Master. Love that little character. He's a part of the Wakeverse. It's just a one-shot story. I'll never probably do another Shape Master kids book. I just wanted to test the waters and just have that character in my little lineup of characters. So just show the world that I can be multitaskable and just do more than just comics. I can jump into anything I want to do if I just put my mind into it.
Yeah, and I love your willingness to step outside of like making comics and try something different, because I feel like a lot of people don't have that confidence, call it, of just like, that's a thing I want to do, so I'm just gonna like do it. Like, how very punk rock DIY of you.
Yeah, and the thing is, before I even was able to do Crescent Blue and Blood Table, I had Liar, and Liar failed twice, and I was about to give up on comics and doing anything. And then I sat down and wrote my 50-page Liar book, and my friend Carl, like I said, he redrew my art. This is my original art, and he redrew it in his own style. and recolored it. So it was so awesome that he took my original artwork and just did it in his own style.
Yeah.
And so it just gave me a little extra confidence when he, had that belief in me, to just, be in my corner and help me out. And then when I launched, Crescent Blue and it funded, I was so pumped. And then I was like, I'm going to do Blood Table now. It's time. And then when it funded, I was like, all right, that's awesome. And then I'm doing Shape Master, and it's okay. Like I've already failed already a couple times, and I haven't stayed down from that. So I think failure sometimes pushes you to limits you are afraid to go, but you need to go. And that's why I wanted to do my kids' books. I wanted to see if I could be, versatile in other things, because it'll help me be a better artist as well if I'm able to draw stuff for children as well. It'll help me learn to do stuff like that. If anyone ever, wants to hire me and say, hey, can you do this kids thing, or can you draw these, type of things for me? Because I've had great people who've hired me to do some of their covers for their books recently, which is pretty awesome. So
yeah,
my work's paying off slowly but surely. So the grind's never stopping over here. So.
Yeah, and I love how like different all of the style. I mean, even looking at just Blood Sable and then Shape Master, like those are two very wildly different characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, like expanding your portfolio of what you can do is always going to be a good thing. And like that kind of goes into the whole like never stop learning thing.
Yeah.
Of like you're constantly working, and you went from traditional to then Procreate and digital, and so like even that was a step in learning, and now you're stepping out of indie comics to do children's books, but still doing the comics. Like, are there things that you've learned with Shape Master that you're going to take back to like creating your comics going forward?
Yeah, like Shape Master and doing my Kevin and Bob book and doing Liar has, helped me. I still need to do more learning. My Blood Sable book was recently reviewed, and I can work on my lettering, and I plan to do that moving forward with, with Red Cloud Force. So I'm going to test the waters on doing more, able to have people comprehend my story more and have some of the sound effects, be more prominent in the book. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to step up my, writing game for sure, because it needs some improvement here and there. But yeah, it's definitely helped when you write a kid's book. It makes you have to put your thinking cap on to like how you're going to try to invest a smaller reader instead of someone who loves comics. Because in comics, it's much easier because adults love comics. They love, men love reading things they can escape from the real world, and so it makes it easier for grown-ups to read awesome stories like that. But little kids, you gotta work hard to get their attention, because they got an attention span like no other. They'll say hi to you 1 second and be off running into a pool the next. You never know. They got the attention span about 2 seconds long. So writing those kids books has been definitely a learning curve for me to try to keep the reader's attention. So that's what I plan on working on moving forward. I'm doing better on my details. I think Red Cloud Force is going to be my best artwork yet. So I've just been pushing myself to the limit. It's going to be 24 pages, and I'm proud to do that. The next couple of books are going to be 24 pages, but you're going to get the best out of me from those books. So, Liar, 50 pages. Oh man, you're going to see a lot of, history for me personally. Liar's a very special character to me. He's based on, old childhood wounds that I had. So you get to see the first 14 pages, you'll get to see like my real house, things that occurred in my life. So, Liar's definitely a character that, represents me in a tiny way. People get to enjoy a little monster battle in there too. So yeah, definitely writing is going to be something I improve on, and doing my, sound effects and stuff like that. Trying to do my word art a lot better too.
Yeah, dude, lettering is such an underappreciated talent. Of like, it always seems so easy, and then it's just like once you start doing it, like, oh, this is way harder. Like I've been trying to learn how to draw, and so I'm watching videos and doing the tutorials and then going through the thing, and some of them are very simple, right? Like start and just draw a circle and draw that same circle like 10 times, like just draw over it and just try and get the muscle memory down. And I was like, that's no problem. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh my, that is not the same circle 10 times.
I recommend 2 channels for you if you want to help yourself in art.
Great.
Draw with Jazza and Draw Like a Sir. Those 2 are great. Know how to, make character designs and how to draw, different techniques and postures and stuff. So Draw Like a Sir and Jazza, or Draw with Jazza, whichever one his YouTube is now.
Cool.
Yeah, those 2 definitely.
It seems it's hard because there's so many there's so many artists that are out there that are willing to like teach how to draw, that it's like who like once I start one, is it like Marvel or DC where I have to like follow that pathway? Can I like bounce around? Do I, continue with this guy because he's got a cool accent and so like I like how he sounds? Like it's hard to differentiate because being me, I'm like, I don't know how to draw, right? Like I only have ever done sketches and doodles and whatever. And so that's what this year I was like, I want to draw, I want to learn how to draw and like actually know what I'm doing and not just like, that's a good line there, like whatever. But now I'm like, now that I'm into it, I'm like, crap, I don't even know. Like, how do I'll just watch a bunch of them and see, like, maybe I'll learn what my style is from there.
You're good. I started off the same way when I was in high school. My dad, he did art. So I was like, I loved looking at his little art that he made. He had like a little shoebox and he made art. So I kind of redrew some of his art in my own style. And then I decided, when YouTube was finally, getting off the ground, I would watch Jazza and Draw Like a Sir and other YouTube people who would, show, artist tutorials on how to draw.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had thousands of drawings and then, went to college and there was even more people on YouTube. But, yeah, I started off that way, too. And I pretty much have been independently doing my own stuff. And there's a lot of great artists who you can learn from. Definitely on Instagram, there's a lot of great artists on there. But, yeah, I started off from stick figures, too, man. I totally understand, like, it takes work to, because if you want your own style, you have to look up others first. You got to draw inspirations a little bit.
Yeah.
Because not you can have art that looks like someone else's. All art, it is different, but it can also be the same as well. It just depends on who's looking at it. Right. And I have a bunch of great friends who, I ask for tips on every now and then on how to do better at posing and stuff, and I'll collab with them. And so I'm just, I totally understand. Like it's hard when you want to do your own style and you try to look at other people's art and try to imitate it, but not, take it from them. You want to make it your own. So I totally understand. Totally 100%. I think I'm so lucky. I have my own art style. People can tell my art from, other people's, which I'm lucky because I like my stuff bold. I like my artwork to have bold black lines on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Heavy blacks. Yeah. I also noticed a lot of like heavy, bright colors, which I love. Like for me, like the dark colors definitely, or like the muted color palettes definitely have a time and place.
Yeah.
But like the way that you've got Blood Sable and Crescent colored, like they just are like leaping off of the page. And I'll have a full review coming soon of Blood Sable. I just have to schedule to get it published. Awesome. But yeah, like that's one of the things that I make sure to mention of like, I really like how bold the colors are and how like it's definitely like Blood Sable has such a unique profile, and I love the hair sticking up for obvious reasons. But like I just think it's a cool looking character, and so I immediately was drawn to it.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to John Coates. When I was doing Blood Sable, the man did all the pencils and inks for me. And it was awesome that he actually mailed all that art to me. I put it in a scanner, and oh my god! When I put it in the scanner, all the scanner, when I did that, it destroyed any type of color work that was on it that I colored and stuff. So you know what I did? I went into Procreate and I re-inked and recolored every single page. Jeez. And I'm proud that I did that. I had to re-ink and recolor everything, and I'm glad I did that because it made everything look a lot better. Because if I was to, when I scanned it, oh man. The color, it looked like it was being washed in water. It would have not looked good, and I didn't want that people to look at that and say, oh, that's what he's creating. So I got to give a huge shout out to John. He sat, he great, awesome person who just talked to me and said, hey man, I want to help you bring that project to life. He read my 40 pages and said, dude, I got you covered. And so, I just wanted to shout out to him for sure, because when he did all the pencils and inks and sent them to me and I got them scanned, oh man! After when he sent them to me and I colored every single page traditionally, and then I went to scan it, and the scanner just said, "Too bad, all that hard work you did gone." And so I put it into Procreate after they were scanned, and I sat there for, oh my god, my wife will tell you, I sat there for weeks making sure that I did every single panel line by line, everything. I re-inked it, I recolored everything. So yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, and I love the '90s style cartoons. I love the bright characters. You know,
Yeah.
the '90s had the best color schemes for superheroes, and so when I draw my characters, I try to give them the most vibrant colors and have their enemies have the more darker colors so you can tell them apart. So I always try to make their color schemes appealing to the eye, so people will be like, I know who the good guy is, I know who the bad guy is. Like with Blood Sable, he was a lighter shade of blue, and Sorrow Sword is a darker shade of blue, so you could tell who was the good guy and who was the bad guy. So I love that I was able to do that, you know, because Sorrow Sword's been an original OG villain for Blood Sable for a long time.
That's cool. Yeah, and I love too that like you've had these characters for a while, so you really get to like know and develop all of these stories that you're going to write and how they would act it. Like, do you find yourself drawn more to one character over another, like as you go forward?
Can you say that to me one more time?
Yeah, like
sorry, I kind of got muted for a second.
No, you're good. Do you find like you're drawn to one character as you're like creating and coming up with new ideas for stories and future comics? Like, do you find that you keep coming back to like Blood Sable every time? Like, do you have the most ideas for him, or is it Crescent? Like, who, or is it the Liar? Like, how do you?
Oh yeah, Crescent Blue. I definitely love that character the most. He's the first guy. You know, when I originally drew him, I told my wife it was a horrible idea because she gave me the little info about what kind of character I should draw first, is like the intro character to the Wake verse. And I drew them all together, and I was like, I hate this design. And I hated it at first, and then when I finally, as the years went on, I kept drawing him and changing his simple color scheme, because his color scheme is pretty much cotton candy from Carnival, the pink and gray and blue. And so when I was drawing him, I just felt attached to Crescent Blue. And then when I drew Blood Sable, I was attached to him. So Crescent Blue, Blood Sable, definitely those two characters, if they were real, I'd have them as my bodyguards. I love those two characters the most out of all my characters I ever created. And Liar, he's probably a tight third, so but Crescent Blue is the OG. He's pretty much the brand name for my world. I'm just proud of that character the most. Just he has a little representation of me and my son and my family. So yeah, definitely Crescent Blue is the poster boy for my world. And then, like I said, Blood Sable is a close second. People actually love Blood Sable a lot, and I'm proud that I'm already done pretty much with his second story, just finishing out writing it. So that'll be coming in. I'll find a time to do his story. So it'll be soon for sure, within like a year or two. I'll get that, Blood Sable 2 done, because Eric Burns, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So I'm proud of that character. But Liar, I might have a couple stories of Liar down the road. We'll see. Like, I really wanted to just do this big old 50-page Liar story and see people loved him in that one. I get to introduce another villain of mine called the Lurch. He's a tentacle monster kind of character. So people get to see another one of my monsters in my world. So the Liarverse is just its own little separate thing with monsters and stuff. So we'll get to see a lot of cool characters in the future. But yeah, Crescent Blue, definitely Blood Sable are the guys that I love drawing. I love creating them. I love writing their stories. Just those two characters, just near and dear to my heart.
That's cool. Yeah, and there's definitely like an energy when creators love the characters that comes through the stories, and like that's true I think for anybody, right? Of just like, oh, you can tell like Eric Larson loved doing Savage Dragon. And, like you could just tell, like he gave him all the cool stuff. And like I love Savage Dragon. He was always I was never a Spawn guy as a kid. I didn't get into Spawn until like college. And then I was like, why have I missed this entire character? But like for me, it was always Savage Dragon. I guess I've always been drawn to Mohawks now that I'm thinking about it out loud. But like, I just always thought he was such a cool and he was a cop, and he was this muscular dude, and he had all the hot chicks. And I was just like, I want to be Savage Dragon when I'm an adult.
Yeah.
And now here I am, and I'm still a human, and I'm not anywhere close to being a dragon. But so also though, like talking about, it's not just your creator own, like your OCs, like you were the colorist in Phantasmagoria, which is how we initially got connected. Like, are you also like a colorist for hire then? Like, how did that book come to be?
Yeah, my friend, the Comic Unknown, when he wanted me to be a part of that little project. And John, again, he was doing his Angie Yoko story, and I was like, hey man, I can be a part of it if you guys want me to, if you need me for anything, because I didn't have any stories then, but I was like, I'll help you guys out if you need me. And then George reached out to me and said, hey man, we'd love for you to color it. We want you to be a part of it, collaborate with us on that one. So it was awesome to do Angie Go-Go. I've never done stripper vampires before, so it was a different, world for me. But I loved it. I try to keep, like, if you notice some of the panels, I try to kind of give that 90s style vibe to the, story, kind of have like the cool little, like, the main character from the, keep them red, they're unknowns, but so I try to kind of resonate with that they what stuff was awesome. Proud of that. I'm a McGorry. I have some stories that are going to be in it for next time we're doing a book too. So, and George did the lettering on my face hole. It's going to be cool. If people like that idea of holes, that don't read that story, but I did that one. It was pretty cool. So it's going to be McGorry.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm glad the indie comics community showed love and support here. So I'm slowly, getting into other books as well. Getting a little love everywhere else. So I take the wins when I can.
Great, dude. I love that so much, man. Where can people find you online?
You can find me at Rydeshow, RYDESCHO on Instagram. You can find me on DeviantArt at Rydeshow as well. You can find my Wakeverse on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube at Rydeshow as well. And I'm on X at Rydeshow. And I plan to sell my books through Mix'em. I'm just waiting for them to approve so people could just buy Crescent Blue and Blood Sable and any books I launch and finish. They can just buy them over there. So I'm just waiting for the approval because they already have the books pretty much in their hand. I'm just waiting, to be able to sell on the Mix'em site until I get my own stuff set up. So I plan to have that done too. So, people want to get their stuff through Mix'em. I highly recommend them. Great company, great people. That's
cool. Yeah, and I've got your link tree in the description for this episode, so it's super easy to find all things Wakeverse. So with Shapemaster, I'm going to cheat and pull up the Kickstarter. If you have children or any friends that have children that might be into a very vibrant and bright book, Shapemaster runs until April 10th. That's a Thursday. And so you have until then. It does have that super low $300 goal. Yeah. So that, which I think is great. Like, try and get it to as many people as possible, as easily as possible. I love that it's already done and you've already got the proofs in hand. Like, that's so far ahead of a lot of indie creators at this point. Yeah, so, man. Like, I always tried to make sure, like, whenever I was able to have a funded Kickstarter, to make sure I planned ahead of time. So that I'm very thankful where I'm at right now. That's awesome. Yeah, and I would be remiss if I didn't at least ask, like, as you're creating and writing and doing all the, like, late night grind, are you also, like, jamming to any music? My son loves Smashing to Pieces. He loves that band. It's a Swedish band, and he loves that band. I always jam out to them. And my wife loves Collective Soul, so I love listening to Mother's Love. That's a good song. Yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere. But yeah, I love listening to some tunes every once in a while, especially during the day. At night, I try to listen to ASMR and just stay calm while I'm drawing, just try to keep it focused. But yeah, that's pretty much me. I listen to what my son listens to and what my wife listens to. And I got a couple of good songs on my playlist. My favorite song of all time, Bittersweet Symphony by... That's my favorite song of all time. Dude, if my wife my wife doesn't bear me to that song, I'm coming back. Did you hear? There's I don't know who put the mashup together, but it's Bittersweet Symphony and Dust Your Shoulders Off from Jay-Z, and they mashed them. I'll send it to you because it's so good. They fit so perfectly together. And there's also one, the Bee Gees, Staying Alive, mixed with AC/DC, Thunderstruck. Oh, it's great. What? Great. Yeah, there's one of those. I'll have to send it to you. I'll send you a link. It's in my saved playlist of music, so I have to send it to you. Perfect. I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget to send you Bittersweet. Yeah, the first time I heard, like, I'm a huge mashup fan. Like, I went through a really big thing in college where I was also, like, learning to DJ and do all the things. And so I was listening to all of these mashed up songs and stuff, and I heard this one and I was just like, I don't need to go any further. I can't top that. I'm never going to get that close. This is perfect. So yeah, I'll definitely send that to you.
And again, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Dude, I'm just glad that this worked out. And
Me too.
I know I said it before we came on, but for public record, thank you for shifting this back because like meeting Steamboat today was just that man is the nicest human being, just awesome. Like ever. Like he was so freaking cool. And I met Heath Slater, and he was like, man, I wish my hair could do what your hair does. And I was like, hey, shut up, man.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was a great day. I appreciate it. I got two things before I let you go. I know we're out of time. First one is super fast. I'm going to take a screenshot to use the thumbnail. So maybe let me get this here, and we will pose in 3, 2, 1. Great. The other one is if there's anything you want people to hear directly from you, it could be about Shapemaster. It could be about Wakeverse. It could be about why being a dad is the best thing ever. I love that all of the indie creators that come on this show have different perspectives, different experiences, different life stories that have led them to creating comics. And so I always want to make sure that I give a space for any creator that comes on the show to share anything they've got. So no pressure. Sorry to pop it on you. But if there's anything you want anybody listening to this, watching this now or in the future to hear from you, the floor is yours, my friend.
Awesome. I would say, like my Wakeverse slogan, wake up and thrive. You never know what tomorrow's promised, so create what you love, enjoy it. You know, when you get to wake up and smell that fresh air, just take it in. Because I grew up in a horrible home, horrible life, but I didn't let it turn me into, what I am now. I'm a great person, been through hell, and I get to write stories and get to share that with people. So I would just recommend you just have a great day every day. Don't let the past define you. Let your future be the definition of you, and just create with all your heart. That's what I do. I don't have time to think about excuses because I got a lot on my plate. So I always try to put out the best I can because, like I said, every day's not promised. Just wake up and thrive every single day. Do the best you can, and just do it for you. If anyone you do it for yourself. Because when you make yourself happy, people are going to see that, and they're going to want to, have you on shows like this and have you around in their corner. So that's all I got to say. Just thrive every day when you can. That's all I got.
That's great, dude. You don't need anything else, man. That was awesome. Hang out. I got a quick logistic for you, and then I'll let you go. But for anybody that is watching and or listening to this now or in the future, whatever it is for you, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Long Box Punk, where I highlight and talk to indie creators about their process and about the overlap with punk rock and the DIY mindset. If you like this, share it on your social media platforms and tell a friend and do the things and subscribe and like and whatever YouTubers say, because I never do any of that. But what is a good podcast without a good tagline? This is mine. Go do what's good for you, punks, and read some indie comics. We are out of here.